Globalization is defined as the growing interdependence of the world's economies, cultures, and populations that is caused by international exchange of goods and services and flows of investment, people, and information. Described as taking place in three stages, the third and final era of modern globalization began during the late phases of the Cold War in the 1980s. The purpose of globalization has been to expand trade, open global supply chains, and provide access to natural resources and labor markets. Let's investigate the main benefits of globalization and unintended consequences that it may cause. Welcome to the 14th episode of Season 1 of Lively Live Life, a podcast by the Information Institute that explains the science behind everyday phenomena. Today's episode is It's a Big World After All. Firstly, globalization creates job opportunities in developing countries due to the development of transnational companies. For instance, Apple, the largest and wealthiest TNC, directly and indirectly created 5 million new jobs in China as of 2019. Moreover, as a result of the creation of new jobs in China, the GDP per capita of China increased from 293 USD in 1985 to 12,670 in 2022, a near twofold difference. And Apple is far from alone. Nike, another TNC, hired 1.02 million people across 40 different countries as of 2017, which allowed it to outsource its manufacturing industry to countries like China and Vietnam. As a result of the diverse job opportunities that globalization provides, not only are impoverished nations becoming wealthier, product costs are becoming ever more cheaper worldwide, allowing productivity and subsequently the global market to flourish everywhere. Additionally, globalization has allowed significant cultural and scientific advancements across all sectors. For instance, the Internet, a global network of digital devices, was invented in 1983. The Large Hadron Collider, an international multi-billion-dollar particle collider located in Geneva, Switzerland, was invented in 2008. And the International Space Station, a satellite built by around a dozen different countries, was built in 1969, at the height of the Cold War. As most of these inventions have been created during the Cold War, often called the birthplace of scientific advancements, it is undeniable that international relations between the US and the USSR had brought about these creations. In fact, many sociologists believe that the Cold War, one of the most significant turning points of the relationship between the Soviets and the Americans, had indirectly led to innovation and globalization, as rivalry and tensions between the superstates caused them to value allies and strive to beat the other in innovation. Moreover, nowadays, through the use of the Internet, researchers across the globe, regardless of place and time, can collaborate on working on new advancements, such as the Event Horizon Telescope collaboration, which accelerates scientific development. However, there are still stark consequences of globalization that have yet to be addressed. One of the primary disadvantages of globalization is environmental degradation. First and foremost, trade, which globalization is built around, requires the use of fossil fuels. While trade is getting more efficient, due to the significant magnitude of trade conducted, it generates greenhouse gas emissions. The World Trade Organization estimates that 20 to 30% of global carbon dioxide emissions are the byproduct of trade, as exemplified by the emission of 8 billion tons of CO2 in 2015 by trade alone, which accounted for 25% of total emissions. Analysts predict that, on average, a 1% increase in trade results in a 0.58% increase in CO2 emissions for a nation. This implies that, as international trade continues to advance and expand, more and more greenhouse gases will be emitted, inadvertently making the planet less and less hospitable. Furthermore, globalization has also brought about significant resource depletion. The Amazon rainforest, which has been cleared for farmland, now suffers concerning levels of deforestation. While in 1980 around 22,500 kilometers squared of forest was cleared, in 2021, 110,088 square kilometers had been cleared. As countries continue to become more and more closely intertwined, the need for lumber and agriculture will only increase, straining and depleting even more of the world's rainforests. The consumption of oil, a resource that nearly all of the industrialized world depends upon, has consistently increased from 23 billion barrels in 1980 to 35 billion barrels used in 2016. Like with rainforests and fossil fuel emissions, if there are no measures taken to prevent oil depletion, globalization and the modern world may grind to a halt. In conclusion, globalization is advantageous due to the creation of more occupations and the significant innovation of science. Unfortunately, the need still remains to find a solution to the pressing environmental concerns caused by globalization, such as greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, and resource depletion. However, humanity has been able to accomplish countless feats, such as the eradication of smallpox, landing on the moon, and mostly resolving a nuclear war, and it is likely that we will be able to find a solution to climate change and resource depletion. Therefore, globalization has made the world a better place.